is a place you have been moving toward all day without knowing it. Not a place on any map, exactly, though it has a lane and a gate and a path of pale gravel that makes a soft sound beneath your feet. It has a sky above it that is doing that particular thing that September skies do in the late afternoon, turning everything gold, turning everything slow, making even the most ordinary field look like somewhere you would want to stay. You have been carrying a lot. Not today especially, though today too, but the kind of carrying that builds quietly over weeks, the kind you only notice when you finally put it down. Tonight, you can put it down. The lane appears between two hedgerows so tall and dense, they form a kind of green corridor, the branches of ash and hazel reaching across from both sides until they nearly meet overhead, filtering the light into something dappled and soft. The air here is cooler than it was on the main road. It smells of soil and green things, and faintly of wood smoke from somewhere further on. You follow the lane at a walking pace, and there's no reason to hurry. The gravel shifts gently under each step. On your left, through a gap in the hedgerow, a field opens up wide and quietly golden, the long grass moving in a slow wave as a breath of wind passes through it. A crow lifts from the far side of the field, rises once, and is gone. Everything settles again immediately, as if it had barely happened. You can feel your shoulders drop slightly. You may not have noticed they were raised. The lane curves just enough to suggest a secret, and then there it is, the cottage at the end of everything. Small and solid and pale, the stone the color of old cream in this light, the kind of stone that has been here long enough to belong entirely. A dark green door, two deep-set windows on either side of it, each one glowing faintly amber from somewhere inside, as though the lamp was left on for you specifically. Climbing roses cover most of the front wall, a little wild, a little gone over now that summer is ending. Their last blooms the color of apricot and pale yellow, soft and heavy on their stems. Someone has trained the thickest branches up and around the doorframe, so that when you stand at the door you are standing in a frame of leaves and fading roses, and you can smell them, very faintly, warm and green and sweet. There is a stone step. On it, someone has left a pair of gardening gloves, fingers together, as if set down mid-afternoon, with every intention of returning. A garden fork leans against the wall nearby. These small signs of ordinary life make the place feel inhabited, lived in, real, not a picture of a cottage, but an actual one, where someone tends things, and then puts down their tools when the light changes and goes inside for the evening. You take the key from your pocket. It is old-fashioned, heavier than you expect, and it turns in the lock with a sound that is both deliberate and satisfying. A sound that says, "You are here, you are inside, everything outside can wait." The door opens. The hallway is narrow and cool and smells of old stone and something faintly herbal, lavender, you think, or perhaps something else, something dried and hanging somewhere in the kitchen. The floor is flagstone, worn smooth over decades into a surface that is almost soft-looking pale gray with faint marks of blue and brown. A low console table against the wall holds a ceramic pot of dried flowers, and a small folded card with your name written on it in careful handwriting. You pick up the card. It says only, "Welcome. Make yourself at home. Everything you need is here." You set it back down. You stand for a moment in the entrance of the cottage and let the quiet of it settle around you. It is not an empty quiet. It is the quiet of a place that has held many evenings, many cups of tea, many slow hours. It is a full quiet, a patient one, and it asks nothing of you at all. Through the doorway on the left, you can see the sitting room, a sofa the color of heather, a lamp already on, a low wooden table. Through the doorway ahead, you can see the kitchen, where the last of the afternoon light comes through a small window above the sink and falls in a pale rectangle across the stone floor. You put your bag down. You do not need to unpack tonight. You do not need to do anything. You are here. The cottage is real. The light is warm. The air is gentle, and it smells of lavender and stone and the very last of the summer roses. And somewhere in the garden behind the cottage, a wood pigeon is calling, the same 4 notes over and over, unhurried, as if it has been saying the same thing all its life and finds it enough. You take a slow breath. It reaches all the way down. You let it go. The day releases from your body a little, like a coat you have been wearing too long in the heat. And you stand in the entrance of the small pale cottage at the end of the lane. And the evening begins to gather softly around you, and everything is exactly as it should be. The sitting room is the kind of room that knows what it is for. It is not a grand room. It is not a room designed to impress. It is a room designed to receive you, to take whatever you bring in with you when you come through the door, and hold it gently, without judgment, the way a good friend holds things. The sofa is deep and wide, upholstered in a fabric the color of heather, faded in places from years of afternoon light. It is the sort of sofa that makes it very difficult to sit up straight, which is, of course, exactly the point. The lamp on the side table has a cream shade that turns everything within its circle warm and honey-colored. The bulb inside must be very low wattage because the light it gives off is barely brighter than candlelight, just enough to see by, not enough to keep you alert. You settle into the sofa. The cushions behind your back are thick and slightly yielding, and you can feel the soft give of them adjusting to you, receiving the shape of you. You pull a folded blanket from the arm of the sofa. It is wool, not heavy, the color of a winter sky, soft enough that it does not scratch at all. And you lay it across your legs and tuck the edge in gently around you. On the coffee table in front of you, someone has left a small arrangement that feels deliberately peaceful. A ceramic bowl of dried lavender, its color faded to a gentle gray-purple. Its scent still there when you lean forward slightly, dry and calm and herbal. A smooth river stone the size of your palm, gray-green, cool and solid-looking. A single cream candle, unlit, in a low holder. You reach forward and light the candle. The flame takes immediately and settles without flickering into a small, clear point of light that casts its own circle of warmth on the pale stone of the mantelpiece above it. You watch the flame for a moment. It is very still. The air in the room is perfectly quiet, and so the flame has nothing to lean away from, and it simply stands there, calm and small and steady. Beyond the sitting room window, the garden is visible in the last of the day's light. A low stone wall at the far end. The apple tree you can only half see, its branches just catching the pale pink that has come into the sky as the sun drops. A wooden bench below the window, its seat scattered with a few fallen leaves in amber and dark gold. You look at the garden without really thinking about it. This is one of the particular gifts of a quiet room. It allows your eyes to rest on something without your mind needing to do anything with what it sees. You are not assessing the garden or planning anything in it. You are simply watching the light change on the old stone wall, watching the leaves shift very slightly in a last breath of evening air, watching a small brown bird land on the bench, and then, a moment later, leave. Your tea has cooled enough to drink now. You made it earlier in the kitchen, the kettle slow and domestic on the old electric hob, the sound of water beginning to move and heat, the particular comfort of spooning tea into a pot that has been used many times before, its ceramic worn and darkened inside in the way that good teapots are. You carried the mug through with both hands and set it on the table, and now you lift it and hold it and feel the warmth of it against your palms. You drink slowly. It is plain and good. It is exactly the right temperature. It tastes like the end of a long day tipping over into evening, which is precisely what it is. On the mantelpiece beside the candle, someone has arranged a small collection of things. A sprig of dried rosemary tied with a piece of undyed string, a smooth white shell with a pale pink interior, a folded piece of paper with a hand-drawn map of the local footpaths. You do not need the map tonight. Tonight, the furthest you are going is to bed. But there is something deeply reassuring about knowing it is there, about knowing that tomorrow, and all the mornings after it, hold the possibility of open paths and quiet fields, and a whole landscape moving at walking pace. The candle flame is still perfectly steady. The wood pigeon in the garden has gone quiet now that the light has almost gone, and in its place has come the first silence of evening, not an empty silence, but a full one, the kind that arrives when all the day's sounds have finished their business and retired, and what remains is simply the underlying quiet of a place that is very old and very peaceful and has no need to announce itself. You take another slow breath. The wool blanket is warm across your legs. The candle is burning cleanly, its small flame holding. Outside, the last of the pink light fades from the sky, and the garden darkens softly and becomes its own kind of beautiful, all deep shadow and still shapes, and the pale glimmer of the stone wall at the far end, catching what remains of the evening light. You are warm. You are still. You are held. You do not need to think about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a very long way away, and it will arrive without any help from you at all. And when it does, the footpath map will be there on the mantelpiece, and the garden will be full of morning light, and everything will ask things of you gently, at a pace you can meet. But that is tomorrow. Right now, there is only the candle, and the tea, and the heather-colored sofa, and the quiet that has settled around you like something that loves you. And all you have to do, the only thing you have to do, is breathe slowly in and slowly out, and let the evening hold you. The kitchen is small and practical, and full of the kind of charm that comes from long use rather than deliberate decoration. The walls are painted the palest sage green, not quite white, not quite color, just a gentle suggestion of green that makes the room feel as though the garden has found its way in through the walls. The units are old cream wood, their handles simple and worn. The hob is electric and slightly ancient. The sink is deep and white and set beneath the window, and the window above it faces the back garden. You stand at the sink and fill a glass of water. The tap runs cold almost immediately, the cold of well water or a high source, the cold that tastes of something mineral and clear. You drink the whole glass standing there at the window, looking out into the garden where it is almost fully dark now, just the pale shape of the stone wall still faintly visible, and above it, the sky beginning to offer its first few stars. One appears, then two close together, then a scattering further left, and then more, emerging slowly as your eyes adjust, and the last of the twilight gives way to proper dark. You watch the stars come out from a warm kitchen with a cold glass of water in your hand, and you feel, very quietly, the size of the world, not in a frightening way, but in the way that sometimes, when you are very tired and very still, reminds you that most things are not your responsibility. The stars have been arriving every evening for a very long time without your help. The darkness has been holding them just as long. Whatever it is you have been worrying about, the universe has absorbed larger things than this and continued moving at its own enormous, unhurried pace. You set the glass down on the draining board. The kitchen has a small table in the corner, barely big enough for two, with two mismatched wooden chairs. Someone has put a jar of dried wildflowers in the center of it, pale stalks and seed heads, the kind of thing gathered from hedgerows in late summer and dried hanging upside down, and then arranged in a jar to be beautiful for months. They are beautiful. They are the quiet, undemanding kind of beautiful that doesn't ask you to notice it, but rewards you when you do. Beneath the table, a small wicker basket holds a collection of things. A folded local newspaper from some weeks ago, a paperback novel with a creased spine, a ball of brown string, a small notebook with a pencil tucked inside the coil. Ordinary things, cottage things, things belonging to ordinary slow days spent reading and walking and doing small, useful tasks in no particular order, without urgency. You pick up the novel without looking at the title. You carry it through to the sitting room and settle back into the sofa and open it somewhere near the beginning and read 3 paragraphs. And then the words begin to move a little, softening at the edges the way they do when the body is finally releasing into the evening, and you let the book rest open on your chest, and you close your eyes for a moment. The candle is still burning. Through your closed eyelids, you can sense its warmth, a faint amber glow that comes and goes slightly as the flame breathes. The room smells of warm wax now, gentle and clean, layered underneath with the dried lavender from the bowl and the old stone smell of the walls and the faint lingering ghost of the tea. You breathe in, you breathe out. Your hands are warm, your legs are warm. The blanket has done its work, and your body has accepted the warmth and settled into it the way water settles, filling every available space with ease and no effort at all. The novel is still open on your chest. You are not reading it. That is entirely fine. Outside, an owl calls once, a single low note from somewhere in the tree line at the far edge of the field beyond the garden wall. It is not a startling sound. It is the sound of something that belongs entirely to the dark and is simply going about its evening, as owls have always done, in the trees beyond gardens like this one, in the dark beyond the warmth of lamps like this one, going about the business of being alive in the night in a way that has nothing to do with clocks or lists, or the kind of thoughts that circle and refuse to land. The owl does not call again. Everything settles. The candle makes no sound. The blanket makes no sound. The cottage holds its breath very gently, and the night outside presses softly against the old glass of the windows. And you are on the inside of all of it, warm and still, the book open on your chest. You're breathing slower than it was an hour ago, slower than it was when you turned down the lane, slower than it has been in longer than you can accurately remember. You let your hands relax. You let your jaw relax. You may not have noticed it was holding. You let your shoulders fall another fraction toward the sofa, and the sofa receives them without comment, without effort, as if it has been waiting all evening for exactly this. At some point, you are not sure when you blow out the candle and carry yourself upstairs. The stairs are narrow and wooden, and make a sound on the third step that is not a creak exactly, more of a note, a single soft thud that the cottage has been making for years, and which is simply part of its voice, no more alarming than a breath. You put your hand on the wall as you climb, and the plaster is cool and slightly uneven beneath your fingers. The bedroom is at the top of the stairs and slightly to the left. The door is open. Inside, a bedside lamp is already on. Someone has thought of everything, and it casts the same warm, low light as the lamp downstairs, turning the room honey and amber, making the white walls appear almost gold. The ceiling here is lower than downstairs, the beams darker, the whole room more enclosed, more held. The window faces the back garden, and a thin curtain has been pulled across it, the fabric so fine that the moonlight comes through it as a soft, diffuse glow rather than a sharp point of light, spreading evenly across the wooden floor. The bed. You have been thinking about it since you arrived, in the way that tired people think about beds. Not urgently, not desperately, but with a low, steady warmth of anticipation, the way you think about a meal that is already cooking, the knowledge of it a comfort in itself. And now you are here, and it is exactly what it should be. The iron headboard is white, slightly scrolled, old. The mattress is high. You sit on the edge of it first, and your feet lift from the floor by an inch, and you think, with something close to satisfaction, yes. The duvet is thick, but not heavy, the kind that settles around you rather than pressing down on you, the kind that traps warmth without effort and holds it all night. The pillows are the right number and the right softness. Someone has folded back one corner of the duvet in invitation. On the bedside table, a glass of water already poured, a small dish with 2 squares of dark chocolate wrapped in gold foil, a paperback, and a tiny sprig of dried lavender laid across the corner of the dish. You eat one of the squares of chocolate very slowly. It is good chocolate, dark, slightly bitter, with a sweetness that arrives late and lingers. You let it dissolve entirely before you swallow it, and there is something in this small act of deliberate pleasure, this insistence on tasting the thing completely, that feels like a kind of practice, a reminder that the present moment has texture and flavor and is worth attending to. You drink a little of the water. You change unhurriedly, folding what you take off with a neatness that isn't usually yours, setting things on the small wooden chair in the corner. There is something particular about getting ready for bed in a borrowed room. It has none of the accumulated habit of home, none of the automatic gestures that mean you pass through the routine without being present in it. Here, everything is slightly new, slightly conscious, and so you notice the cool air on your arms before you pull your sleeve down. You notice the texture of the wooden chair. You notice the way the thin curtain moves very slightly, though no window is open, as if the room itself is breathing. You turn the duvet back and get into bed. The sheets are cotton, clean smelling, with a faint line of lavender scent in them that may be from sachets in the linen cupboard, or simply from washing powder and the general pervasiveness of lavender throughout this particular cottage. Either way, it is there, and it is exactly right, and you close your eyes and breathe it in. The pillow under your head is soft and cool on the surface, and your head sinks into it with the ease of something finding its level. You are lying down. You are warm. The lamp is still on, but its light is low and gentle, and does not ask anything of your eyes. The moonlight comes through the thin curtain and adds its own quiet layer to the room, and somewhere outside, in the garden or the field beyond it, the night is doing its slow, enormous work, the same work it does every night without fail, the work of holding the darkness and the stars and the sleeping world with equal steadiness. You reach out and click off the bedside lamp. The room does not go dark. The moonlight through the curtain is enough to make everything softly visible. The pale ceiling, the dark beams, the shape of the wooden chair, the glimmer of the water glass on the table beside you. Everything present, everything still. You put your hands flat on the duvet and feel the warmth already gathering there. Your legs are heavy and easy. Your back has released against the mattress, found the places where it fits, stopped holding itself. Your breath is slow, in through the nose, warm and steady, out through slightly parted lips, slow and complete, all the way out. You are in a bed in a cottage at the end of a quiet lane. Outside the window, a field spreads away into the night. Horses sleep standing in the far corner of it. The apple tree in the garden stands still. The stone wall is cool and solid under the moon. The owl is somewhere in the dark trees, watching. And you are here, inside all of this quiet, under all of this warmth, breathing slowly, slowly down into sleep. Sleep does not arrive all at once. It comes the way the evening came, gradually, in layers, each one a little softer and a little lower than the one before. First, there is the sense of your body growing heavier, as if your bones have taken on a pleasant ballast, a weight that pins you gently to the mattress without pressing. Then the quality of your thoughts changes. They lose their edges. Stop referring back to anything. Stop needing to conclude. They move more slowly. They begin to overlap the way clouds overlap, one dissolving into the next without clear borders. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to do anything with them at all. If a thought arises that has the beginning of something urgent in it, a thing you forgot, a thing you should have said, a thing waiting for you when you return to ordinary life, you can simply notice it and let it lie. It is not going anywhere. It will still be there when you need it. Right now, it is just a thought. And thoughts in this room, in this bed, at this hour, have no authority over you. They are just weather, just light through leaves. Let them pass. The room around you settles deeper into its own quiet. There is a sound that you become gradually aware of, not loud, not sudden, just there in the way that sounds are there once you stop making noise yourself and allow the world its own voice. It is the sound of rain beginning, not a heavy rain, not a driving rain, but the kind that arrives so gently you can hear each individual drop. First against the window glass, a few scattered taps, then against the leaves of the climbing rose on the front wall, then spreading across the roof tiles, the flagstone path, the wooden bench in the garden, the stone wall, the apple tree, the broad dark field beyond. Rain on a roof when you are inside and warm and lying down is one of the oldest comforts in the world. You did not choose it. You could not have planned it. But here it is, arriving without being asked, doing its work of covering all other sounds, filling every gap in the silence with its own gentle, even texture. Its thousands of small voices adding up to a single continuous hush. Your breathing slows to match it. In, steady and slow, the way the rain falls steady and slow. Out, long and complete, the way the rain drains through the gutters and away. There is no tension left in your hands. There was some, perhaps, earlier, the faint residual grip of a day spent holding things, but it has gone now. Your fingers are open. Your palms are soft against the duvet. Your shoulders are flat. Your jaw is loose. You are lying in a bed in a room that smells of lavender and old linen, and the faint mineral cleanness that rain brings through the window's slight gap. And the duvet is warm around you, and the pillow has taken the shape of your head, and the rain on the roof is making its sound, that particular comfort, and you are breathing slowly and entirely, and there is nothing more required of you tonight, not one single thing. You have done enough today. You have been enough today. Whatever was left undone will wait, and whatever was finished is finished. And either way, there is nothing that requires your attention in this moment, in this bed, in this rain-hushed room. Let it all rest. You allow a picture to form gently behind your closed eyes, not forced, not constructed, just arriving the way things arrive in the space between waking and sleeping. You are standing in the garden, but it is a summer version of the garden, full of sun and long grass and the smell of warm stone. And there is nothing you are required to do in this garden, no task, no direction. You are simply standing in it with your face turned up very slightly, and the warmth of summer on your skin, and the deep, quiet pleasure of a day that belongs entirely to you. The picture shifts and softens. Now you are sitting under the apple tree, and the dappled light moves slowly over you as the leaves move, and you have nothing in your hands, and nothing is expected of you, and time has stopped its pushing and simply become a wide, easy thing, a field rather than a path, something you can rest in. The rain continues outside the window. The duvet holds you. The room is very, very quiet. Somewhere deeper than thought, something in you recognizes this moment as safe, as genuinely, completely, generously safe, and releases a final layer of the holding that the day required. You go a little deeper. You breathe, the rain, the warmth, the dark behind your eyes, soft and full and drifting. In the hours that follow, the rain gentles further, until it is barely a sound at all, more of a feeling, a coolness in the air, a freshness that comes under the curtain and moves very softly across the room. You are somewhere between waking and sleeping, in that country that has no maps, no clocks, no rules. That in-between place, you find yourself in a garden that is not quite the cottage garden, and not quite anywhere else. A large, unhurried place with grass that is very green and thick, and old stone paths that lead between beds of lavender and rosemary, and tall white flowers whose name you don't know, but whose shape is beautiful, each one like a small lamp turned toward the sky. The light in this garden is morning light, early and gold and long, the kind that makes everything cast a shadow twice its size. You are walking along one of the stone paths, and the lavender brushes against your hand as you pass. And the smell of it is extraordinary, clean and deep and old, the smell of something that has been growing in this earth for a very long time and is entirely at peace with the arrangement. There is no one else in the garden, not in a lonely way, in the way of a space that is simply yours for this particular morning. You walk without destination. That is the gift of this garden. It does not ask you to be going anywhere. You are simply moving through it in the easy, aimless way of someone who has nowhere they need to be, following whichever path appeals, pausing where the light is particularly good, or where a flower is particularly open, or where a bench appears, and seems to suggest that sitting would be the right thing. You sit on a bench of gray stone, slightly warm from the sun. Behind you, a wall covered in climbing hydrangeas, their flowers the color of old parchment and the faintest blue, heavy and full, and just beginning, some of them, to dry at the edges in the way they do at the end of summer. In front of you, the garden opens to a wide space of lawn, and beyond the lawn, a line of tall dark yew hedges, and above the yew hedges, the soft pale blue of a sky that has decided today to be completely clear and completely still. A bee lands on the lavender beside the bench. It moves from flower to flower with great purpose and no hurry, which is its own particular kind of achievement. You watch it for a while. It does not know you are watching. It is entirely engaged in the business of the flower in front of it, and then the next flower, and then the next, and there is something profoundly calming about its complete focus, its complete disinterest in anything outside the immediate radius of what it is doing. You close your eyes on the stone bench in the dream garden. The sun is on your face. It is warm without being hot, that precise and generous temperature that makes the body want to spread and receive and simply be in it. A warmth that asks nothing back. Behind your dream-closed eyes, the warmth of the sun and the warmth of the cottage bedroom have become the same warmth, and you are both places at once without confusion, lying in the lavender-scented bed and sitting in the morning garden, and the line between them is easy and porous, and it does not matter at all which side of it you are on, because both sides are safe, and both sides are warm, and both sides ask only this, that you breathe slowly, that you rest, that you let the morning do whatever it is going to do while you simply remain here in the warmth of it, unhurried, unconcerned, present without effort. The bee moves on. The yew hedge stands still. The sky is very, very blue. You breathe in once deeply, and the air tastes of lavender and cut grass and something clean and indefinable that is simply the smell of a morning that has never been used before. You breathe out slowly, all the way out, until you are completely empty, and then, without effort, without trying, you fill again. In this place, breathing is not something you do. It is something that happens to you, something the body continues with or without permission, something as automatic and trustworthy as the turning of the world on its axis, which it does every day and every night without your help, and without ever once getting it wrong. You are well tended. You are looked after by the bed and the blanket, and the rain on the roof, and the dream garden, and the bee on the lavender, and the long gold morning light, and by your own body, which knows exactly what to do when you finally stop telling it what to do, and simply allow it to do what it has always known. Sleep is not far. Perhaps it is already here, and you are simply inside it, looking back at the edge of it from somewhere warm and deep. The night moves the way nights move when you are inside a quiet house in an open landscape, generously, without rushing, as though it has agreed to give you every hour in full. At some point, the rain stopped entirely. You did not hear it stop. One moment it was a presence, and then it was an absence, and the absence left a particular quality of silence in the room, a washed, clean silence, freshly laundered. The way silence is after rain has taken all the dust from the air and carried it softly down into the earth. The cottage settles. Old buildings do this. They make small sounds as the temperature changes through the night, the beams contracting slightly, the stone walls giving or receiving a little warmth. These sounds are nothing like the sounds of danger or disturbance. They are the sounds of a building doing its slow, continuous work of being itself, adjusting to the world around it, the way all living things adjust, quietly, over a long time without drama. You are one breath in the long breathing of this house. In the dream that is happening now, you are by water. Not a sea, not a river, but a lake, a small one, tucked between hills that are covered in the pale brown and purple of heather. Their slopes very smooth and rounded, shaped by something much older and slower than anything you could name. The lake is still. Its surface is a perfect mirror, holding the sky and the hills exactly, so that standing at its edge, you are standing between two skies, two sets of hills, the real ones above and their reflections below. And the line between them is the surface of the water, which is so still it is hard to be certain where one ends and the other begins. You are sitting on a flat stone at the water's edge. Your feet are bare, and the stone is smooth and slightly warm. And behind you, the heather-covered hill rises away, and above it, the sky is the deepest, most settled blue, an afternoon blue, a blue that has been blue since morning and plans to remain so. Across the lake, not far, just far enough, a small wooden rowing boat is tied to a post at the water's edge, its rope slack, the boat resting without moving on the perfectly still surface. The wood of the boat is old and gray and slightly silvered, and it is so still, and the water is so still, that the reflection of the boat below it is indistinguishable from the boat itself. You are not going across the lake. You have no intention of going anywhere. The stone beneath you is enough. The sky above and below you is enough. The particular quality of the light on the water, bronze and blue, shifting between them as clouds that you cannot see move somewhere above, is enough. The smell of the heather behind you is dry and faintly sweet and very old, and it is enough. It is all so fully enough. This is one of the things that sleep does. It returns you to a state of sufficiency, while waking life so often creates the feeling of lack, of not quite enough, of something missing just around the corner. The dreaming mind is better at this, at generating the sensation of completeness, of arriving, of sitting on a warm, flat stone at the edge of a still lake under a blue sky, and finding that this, precisely this, exactly as it is what was needed all along. You trail one finger in the water. It is cold, not shockingly cold, just the pleasant, clarifying cold of lake water that has the hills in it and the long memory of winters. And it closes around your finger for a moment and then holds very still with you. A dragonfly passes, electric blue, moving with that particular flight that dragonflies have, all angles and sudden stillness, as if they are periodically choosing to exist in a single point of space, and then choosing a different one. It passes and is gone, and the air where it was is simply air again. The reflection of the hills in the lake is so clear. You look down into it, down into the reflected sky, down through the still surface into the cold blue world beneath, and you feel something in your chest that is not quite a feeling and not quite a thought, something more fundamental, a recognition of something very large and very quiet and very permanent that exists beneath the surface of ordinary things, the way the sky exists beneath the surface of the lake, always there, always itself, regardless of the weather above, regardless of whether anyone is looking. You are looking, and what you see is simply this: that you are small and cared for, that the world is enormous and not threatened, that your life, with all its days and its tiredness and its accumulated ordinary weight, is taking place inside something vast and patient and fundamentally kind. The water holds the sky. The stone holds you. The night holds the cottage. And you, in the deepest part of your sleeping, are held so completely that there is nothing to do and nowhere to fall and no reason for anything in you to remain tightened against the world. And so you release and release and release again. The very deepest part of the night is its own kind of country. There are no dreams here, or if there are, they leave no trace, no impression, just a faint sense upon waking of having been somewhere large and good. In this place, you are simply present in the body, warm in the bed, and the mind has set down all its work and is resting in a way it rarely allows itself, a full and unconditional rest, the kind that restores something you cannot name, but can absolutely feel the presence or absence of in the morning. You are resting in that way now. The cottage is completely still around you. The rain is long finished. The owl has gone wherever owls go before dawn. The horses in the field are standing still with their eyes closed and their warm weight distributed evenly on 3 legs, their manes hanging loose and dark against their necks, their breathing long and even. The apple tree in the garden is still. The stone wall is still. The bench is still. And on the bench's wooden surface, the rain has left dark patches that are beginning to fade at the edges now as the air moves again and the night proceeds toward its turning point. The world is doing its quiet, necessary work, and somewhere in the small hours, in the part of the night that belongs to no one, that is simply itself, a breathing space between yesterday and tomorrow. Something in you that has been very tired for a long time receives what it needed, not dramatically, not with any sudden feeling of resolution, just quietly, the way a battery charges in the dark, the way seeds absorb water without ceremony, the way in old buildings stones store the warmth of a day and release it slowly through the cold hours. You are being restored. Breath by breath, hour by hour, the weariness that accumulated over weeks and months is being collected by the night and taken somewhere, exchanged for something clean and simple. Not energy exactly, not yet, but the possibility of energy, the raw material of a morning that will feel different from the mornings before it. A morning that might carry a certain lightness. A morning where the first thought might not be a task, but a sensation, the smell of the air, the light through the curtain, the particular quality of waking in a new place that reminds you your life contains rooms you have not yet entered. There is so much that is still possible. You do not need to think about it now, but it is there, held in the dark, held by the night the same way the stone holds warmth, and in the morning it will be available to you and it will be yours. For now, simply rest. The duvet is still warm. Your hands are still soft against it. The pillow still holds the shape of your head. The curtain is still pale and still, and the moonlight is still coming through it, though lower now, shifted in its angle, the moon having moved a considerable way across the sky in the hours since you lay down. Time is passing, but you are not in it. Not really. In sleep, time is not a corridor you must walk through. It is more like weather, something that happens around you while you remain in the still center of it. You remain in the still center of it. Nothing is required. Nothing is coming for you. The night is wide and generous and completely committed to you until the morning. And the morning is still a long way off, and there is no reason at all to go toward it before it comes for you. Let it come for you. Let everything come for you in its own time, in its own order, without your help, without your supervision. The sun will arrive without being summoned. The birds will begin without being scheduled. The day will begin without being started by you, and you will find yourself inside it gently, gradually, at the pace of a slow, waking in a comfortable bed in a small, pale cottage where the air smells of lavender and the curtains let the light come through in the softest possible way. But not yet. Not yet. The night is holding steady. The dark is complete and good and full. Your body is warm and still. Your breathing is slow, 3 counts in, 5 counts out, easy and even as a tide that has been doing this since before you were born and will go on doing it without any effort from you at all. Rest now, all the way down to the very deepest part of this good, safe, quiet night. Before the morning properly begins, there is a moment. It is a very specific moment, and if you have ever woken in a quiet place far from the city, you will know it. The moment when the darkness begins to be something other than simply dark. Not lighter yet, not obviously changed, but different in quality. A darkness that has begun to carry within it the very first intimation of what is coming. A darkness holding its breath. The birds feel it before the light arrives. A single one begins tentative, a single phrase, just 3 or 4 notes, then silence. Then another, further away, answers with a different phrase. A call and something like a response. And then quiet again, longer this time, as if both birds are listening to what they have made and finding it good before making more. This is the dawn chorus in its very first movements, before it becomes the full and jubilant thing it will be in another hour. Right now, it is just 2 voices in a very large silence, feeling out the parameters of the morning, and it is one of the most beautiful sounds in the world. You are still asleep, or close to it, close enough that the sounds come to you filtered through warmth and softness, each one a small gift delivered gently, no urgency, no demand. You hear them without needing to respond to them. They simply arrive and are there, and you receive them without effort, the way you receive the warmth of the duvet, the way you receive your own breathing, automatically, gratefully, without needing to do anything about it. More birds, 3 now, then 4, their voices overlapping and distinct, each one doing its particular thing, their combined sound building so gradually that you cannot identify the moment when it becomes a chorus rather than a collection of individual voices. It is a sound that has been made every morning over this particular landscape for longer than the cottage has stood here. longer than the lane has existed, longer than anything human in this valley. And it will go on being made every morning after all the human things have changed. And there is something in that continuity, that deep, old, unbroken continuity, that settles something very fundamental in you. You are part of something that has been happening for a long time. The light comes very slowly. First, a thinning of the darkness, not color yet, just a decrease in density, the curtain beginning to glow faintly at its edges. Then, slowly, the shape of the room becoming visible, the ceiling, the dark beams, the wooden chair with your folded clothes on it, the water glass glinting faintly on the bedside table. The room assembles itself around you in the early light with no urgency, piece by piece, as if it is deciding to exist gradually rather than all at once. You lie still. You are aware of being warm. You are aware of the pillow beneath your head, the duvet over you, the cotton of the sheets. You are aware of the birds, which are numerous now and full-voiced, the garden outside the window, apparently hosting a significant and enthusiastic gathering of thrushes and blackbirds and sparrows, and something higher pitched and more distant that you cannot name, but that is very beautiful in its particular way. You are not ready to get up. You do not need to get up. There is no schedule attached to this morning, no train, no appointment, no alarm that rang or will ring. The morning belongs entirely to you, and it will wait. It has been waiting since before you arrived, prepared and patient, stocked with light and birdsong and cool air, and the smell of damp garden coming through the slight gap in the old window frame, and it will go on waiting until you are ready to step into it. And when you do, it will receive you just as the cottage received you yesterday, without conditions, without requirements, with complete and uncomplicated welcome. You pull the duvet a little higher. You close your eyes again, not to sleep or not necessarily, but simply to remain in this place a little longer, this warm and drowsy threshold between sleep and waking, where the body is rested and the mind is soft and the birds are singing outside and the morning is building itself quietly and the day is still unbegun and therefore still perfect, still full of its original unspent possibility. This is yours, this whole slow morning, this warm bed, this bird-filled garden, this pale light coming through the curtain, this good heavy feeling in your limbs that is the feeling of genuine rest, the kind that reaches all the way down. This is yours and you have earned it, and you do not need to explain or justify or rush it. Breathe in slowly, hold it gently, breathe out all the way. The birds sing on, the light builds, the garden beyond the window is wet and green and still, and the apple tree stands in the center of it with its small green fruit, and its leaves catching the first of the morning sun, each leaf lit from behind so that it glows, a precise and perfect green, a color that belongs to early mornings and nowhere else. You are here. You are here. Eventually you rise slowly, without hurry, as if the morning and your body have agreed together on the right pace of things. You sit on the edge of the bed first and feel the floor beneath your feet, the wooden boards, smooth and cool, slightly uneven in the way of old wood that has taken on the shape of its years. The room is fully light now, or as fully light as it will be with the curtain drawn, a soft, diffuse, white gold light that fills every corner equally and makes the room feel larger than it did in the lamplight of last night. You pull back the curtain. The garden opens in front of you. After the rain, it is extraordinary. Everything is wet and green, and the colors are more themselves than they were before, as if the rain cleaned each surface back to its original intention. Stone wall at the far end is dark with water, and the moss between its stones is vivid green. The apple tree's leaves are so bright they seem almost lit from within. The wooden bench has a small puddle on one of its planks that catches the sky and holds it, blue and cloud white, a small sky on a wooden surface. The horses are in the far field. All three of them are there, the two dark ones and the pale gray one moving slowly now, grazing, their heads low and their tails moving in that easy, unconcerned way. They are completely themselves in this morning, as they were completely themselves last evening in the mist. And they do not require anything from you, and they are entirely beautiful. You stand at the window for a long time. You dress unhurriedly, pulling on soft, comfortable clothes, nothing requiring effort, and you carry yourself downstairs in your socked feet, the third step making its note as before. The hallway cool and smelling of old stone and newly of the damp that has come under the door overnight. A fresh, good smell, an outdoor smell that the cottage has absorbed and made its own. In the kitchen, you fill the kettle. While it heats, you stand at the window above the sink, as you did last night. But the view is entirely different now. The garden in full morning light, the blackbird back on its path, moving and stopping, completely methodical, completely itself. The sky above the garden wall is a pale, clean blue with the thin white lines of clouds, so high they are barely clouds at all, more like the sky thinking about clouds. The kettle boils. You make tea. You carry your mug to the back door, and you open it. The air that comes in is cold and clean and smells of everything, grass and earth and rain, and apples and stone, and the particular freshness that belongs specifically to early September mornings after a night of light rain. A smell that is also a feeling that is also a sort of clarity, as if the morning has been waiting to hand you this particular thing that you can only receive by stepping outside into it. You step outside into it. The flagstones of the small back step are cold through your socks, but you don't mind. You stand in the doorway with your mug and look at the garden in the morning, and the morning looks back without comment, and everything is simply exactly as it is. A spider web in the apple tree. You noticed it last night in the dream, and here it is in reality. Or perhaps it is a different web. There are always more spider webs than you think. They are everywhere if you look. The world more connected by invisible threads than it appears. This one is between two lower branches, each thread strung with drops of last night's rain, every drop holding a tiny complete version of the world, the garden, the sky, the apple tree itself. You standing in the doorway with your mug. You are in every drop, very small and very present, and completely included. You drink your tea. It is good in the cold air, the warmth of it moving through you as warmth always moves through you, from the inside out, from the center to the edges, reaching the tips of your fingers, the backs of your hands, the base of your throat. A warmth that is yours now, that your body has made from the tea, and is distributing with quiet generosity to everywhere it is needed. The horses have moved to the near end of the field. The gray one raises its head and looks in your direction for a moment, not alarmed, simply looking, acknowledging without ceremony, and then drops its head again and returns to the grass. You have been seen and found unremarkable, and this morning, is the best possible thing to be. Unremarkable, present, warm, here. You stand in the doorway of the small pale cottage at the end of the lane, and you drink your tea in the cold September morning, and the world goes on around you in its enormous, patient, beautiful way. And you are not required to manage any of it, not responsible for any of it, simply inside it, breathing and warm and rested and awake in the most gentle sense of that word. Awake not with sharpness, but with softness, with the particular quality of consciousness that arrives after genuine sleep. A consciousness that is light rather than heavy, open rather than defended, curious rather than anxious. Everything is still possible. Everything is very well. The web in the apple tree moves very slightly in a breath of morning air, and the drops tremble and catch the sun, and each one flashes once, bright as a star, as if agreeing. Yes, it says. Yes, all of it. Yes. You finish your tea. You hold the empty mug. The morning continues without requiring anything of you, and you stand in it completely. And there is nothing more to carry, and nothing more to solve. And the day that is beginning is a good day, a gentle day, a day that will ask things of you at a pace you can meet and offer things in return that you did not expect and could not have planned for. But even that is not yet. Right now there is only the garden, and the horses, and the web with its morning drops, and the cold air on your face, and the warmth in your hands, and the quiet, the deep, full, generous quiet of a place that has held you through the night and is holding you still. You are rested. You are safe. You are home in yourself, in the way that only a good night's sleep in a good and quiet place can make you return to yourself, restored. The weight you arrived with either gone or so much lighter that you have already forgotten what it felt like to carry it as you did. Sleep well. You already have. And the morning, this clear, clean, bird-filled, rain-washed, apple tree September morning, is yours entirely. And it is asking nothing of you at all, except that you remain in it, breathing slowly, at peace, exactly as you are.